What is going on, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a really dynamic podcast today. We are going to talk about some deep, sharp dents, how I get it out, how I teach my students, how you're going to learn how to keep your dent clean with this new dent craft tool. It's not new. It's been out for a long time. It's new to me. I will put the link down below as soon as I find it, but as I'm recording this, I don't have the link, but I will put it down in there. And then using a pick to finish it off. How do you keep it clean? I'm going to explain it. I'm going to explain the process. I videoed it, and it was pretty interesting. I think you guys are going to like it, and it might answer some questions for you. Also, I'm going to show you guys how to kind of turn your reels. I created a reel. I'm going to explain why I did this reel. And then when I'm communicating with my customers, how I can, use that to my advantage. And I think you'll find that interesting as well. I think you can find this whole podcast interesting. And the bonus, I'm bringing my wife on for 20 minutes on this podcast. She makes some awesome points about some of the top 3 things that spouses need to know that will make themselves work together, especially when the two spouses are working together. And well, I'm not going to get all mumble jumbled on there. It's good. My wife brings it, and I don't have her on here very often, but I think you guys will appreciate some insights if you're serious about growing your business and you guys are a husband and wife team. This podcast is going to be very helpful for you. So, as usual, let's get cracking. Right. Well, let's talk about some things here. I love what I do. Let's get something straight about what I do. I offer professional paintless dent repair training. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, everybody wants to get good at dents. They want to do this. They all have their hiccup about wanting to learn. But you have no idea that the marketing part is just as strong as your skills need to be at learning it. What do I mean by that? So you are trying to learn PDR, and that's all you're focusing on. What you should be making sure that you're focusing on the fundamentals, the framework, the details of that. But what are you going to do after training? How are you going to market yourself? And you guys who are veterans that would like to probably pay attention to this as well. I'm going to show a few things that I teach my students during the course. It is very important with today's day and age, with social media going, how fast things are. Have you noticed I don't make long videos anymore? It's very rare that I will make a long YouTube video. Why? Because nobody's attention span. The facts show it. Unless you are showing one crazy value after value, your videos will not get the attention they need. So now that's different if you're doing a tutorial, but if you're doing a video that is going to pertain to marketing, it needs to be fast. It needs to be quick. It needs to be highlights of highlights. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. I'm going to play a clip right here that highlights what I do. Let's play it. Bada bing, bada bang. Quick, fast. You don't need to know you don't need to know English. You don't need to know Spanish. You don't need to know anything to know that what I just did right there. Had a ding, circled it. I circled it because for any given reason, I didn't want to think I'd let people think that I actually fixed a dent and then showed a different part of the panel that where the dent wasn't. So I circled it just to justify that was the dent where it was, and then showed how I'm going to gain access to the panel, what tool I was going to use, how I was going to use that tool, how the tool removes the dent, how I'm using that reflection, right? And then follow me. 15 seconds. I filmed that whole thing, by the way, and I had to highlight the dent repairs. Okay, what was going on. Highlight the chapters of what was going on. That is how that video made its point. And I'm just pulling it up. Every little step is quick, fast, and interesting, right? You run it by again, it's 15 seconds. I made my point, and this is what I want to do. I want to highlight this. Now, here's the main here's the main reason why I do this. Okay. I do it to market to my customers. All right. It's awesome that most people think that this is great. Or they like the video. That's terrific. Thank you. If you follow me already on Instagram, I really appreciate that. However, my ultimate goal is to help justify the process to my customers, help them understand, well, how do you do it? How many times have you guys or ladies have asked, well, how are you going to do it? I don't even let them ask me that yet. I'll tell you how I do it now. Check it out. So I'm going to use my own phone as a demo. So when someone texts me a photo, we're going to say they sent me a photo already, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quick reply to them, right? And I'm going to send them that link right there. Okay. It says, hi, thanks for your photos. We base our cost on factors and evaluate your damage by running it through our dent removal software program. We'll be right with you and respond back shortly with a professional estimate. Meanwhile, please feel free to check out a 15-second video clip, how we perform paintless dent removal. Watch this, okay? And so you see the little link right there, right? So they get that, and then they go and watch the video, right? So they'll click on that, and I'm talking as I'm explaining that, right? And then boom, they go and they watch the video. All right. Now, why didn't I just attach a video to it? Couldn't I have done that? Sure, you could do that, and by all means, you guys can do it your own way. The tactic why I did that is to show obviously the likes on the video, right? And they can watch more of my work on Instagram, and they can see the following I have too. So all that is social proofing, saying this guy knows what he's doing. And I just want him to check out the rest of my work, or her. That is one reason why I do what I do. I love thinking and creating unique, quick, fast ways to educate my customer, to respond to them quickly, and obviously get them to purchase one of my services, right? To move forward and book an appointment. That's the ultimate goal. Now, I'm not going to get into this yet. This will be for our next podcast. I think this is what we're going to start focusing on. We're going to talk about chatbots. Chatbots are the future. Chatbots is what it's at. I've tested almost all of them. I would say almost, because I've tested the top types of chatbots. And Matter of fact, I've been using chatbots for about 5 years. And I finally think I understand it to the core. I don't recommend you guys go out and just purchase a chatbot and hope for the best. There's reasons why you need to do that. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to set that up for the next podcast. You won't want to miss that. It is going to be more in depth, and I am going to be offering chatbots for my web clients too as well. So if you're interested in that, even if you're not my web client, contact me. I'll get in touch with you about that. Okay. I teach my students how to do what I do this way. If you think PDR, just coming to me and learning PDR is just, that's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn way beyond. It is information overload, not overlord, but oh Lord, it's overload. Okay. Ain't nobody more passionate than how I teach and I want to teach it. Period. There might be really good techs out there that do dents like phenomenal. But this is one thing I'm not going to be humble or hold back at. I believe I am a very, very good PDR trainer. And I prepare my students to become the best at what they can be, their potential, and bring it out. Not only that, that's why I'm sharing it with you to show you these are why I do mega media events. I speak out of experience. I show what I do. I'm not just reading books or podcasts or doing all this other things. I'm showing you how I use it for my business. And by the way, I post costs or pricing on most of my repairs every chance I get. And if I forget once in a while, it does happen once in a while. But customers are aware of how much I charge. And I say this again, you might have heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. 60%, over 60% of your clients, your potential clients, check your reviews, your social media, your YouTube channel, if you have it, and the rest that goes with it. But if you consistently put the information that you want to target, like the type of customer that you are looking for, you will get it. If that's the customer you're looking at. If you don't do that, if you don't start targeting the customer you want, you will get all types. And usually you get headaches with it. You get customers who don't understand. That's the thing. It's not that they're cheap, really. Honestly, we label them as cheap. Those are the ones that don't understand the value of your cost, your pricing, right? So that's why it's important to really think about, okay, I want to go after this type of client. Then you put it out there. So what's the value of that client worth? Is it starts at $155? Is it a $400 net? Is it a $75 net? Because if you have that type of market and you want to go after, is that your business model and you want to go after a low end customer, then advertise it. If you want to be the cheapest company, then advertise it. But we all know what comes with that. We all know what comes with that. I haven't really said much here because I'm full of energy about this type of stuff. I've got a breakdown video I'm going to go next on here, showing how I remove sharp, deep dents with this new tool that I purchased. Not a new tool that is necessary, that's new to the industry. But Dentcraft doesn't get a lot of credit far as some of their tools go. They've been making the same tool line for a long time, and they've been in the forefront for a long time. And there's a good reason. They make really dang darn good tools. But some of their tools have been under the radar, shall I say. Okay. And this tool I'm talking about, and we're going to get right into it. You like how I just go into different segments and stuff like that? You are going to get real deal Holyfield PDR information here. I'm going to break things down. If you're new to my podcast, I should have said it earlier. Please subscribe. Check it out. I'm on Apple Podcast, Podbean, and YouTube. And my podcasts are visual, right? So that's why you're seeing it right now. It's super visual, and you get to see what I'm showing you, not just talking about it. And I strongly believe in that. If I have an opportunity to show you video, I will do that. And that's why we are here right now. Okay. Let's pull this clip up. All right. Now, I do another circle. I haven't edited this to a reel yet, but I thought, you know what? If you guys are thinking about Dent Trainer, you've heard of Dent Trainer. This is the type of videos that I actually will get really nit gritty and kind of actually talk about it. Let me back this up too, because I'm kind of talking back and forth and not really explaining here. So this is actually one of the tools that I was using here. I wish I could just, it keeps going a little bit. There it is. Let's see, there it is. That tool right there is bomb.com. I mean, that tool is really good at side loading these deep dents and finishing them to a certain point. One thing you do have to remember, though, is that PDR, when you are doing your repairs, as I tell my students, it's a relay, not a race. It's a relay, not a race. What do you mean by that, Mike? What do you mean a relay? It means that you are going to be using a tool to a certain point. You might be using one tool with different tips, that screw-on tips, but you may have to switch to a sharper tip. So meaning you might have to start with a soft tip and midpoint and then sharp. As you get better, you may not have to use as many tools in the relay. Okay. And relay means like you are passing the baton, right? Okay. All right, midpoint, you got me to this point, right? Now I'm going to hand it over to the sharp tip, or I'm going to hand it over to the pick. And that gets you, the midpoint got you to 80, 85%, maybe 90%. And then you wanted to go to a sharp tip because the sharp tip needs to fit in that pit. Does that make sense? That's what I mean. But there's a lot more to it, obviously, right? You've got your reflection that is super crucial, right? If you don't move your reflection, or if you don't know how to read the reflection in a certain way, well, it's going to lie to you, right? But if you ask it to, hey, show me some detail, it will always tell you the truth. Now, I've got this dent. I'm bringing it up. I'm trying not to chew it up, right? This tool's really helping me bring the core of the surrounding dent up to that center pit, okay? As I'm bringing that sucker up, you can see it's getting more nice and tight. There's still a little micro pit in there, and that's where we'll start pretty soon. We will go and switch it to a different pick or different tool, because I do go to a pick. I actually went to Dent Craft's pick. Pretty nice. It kind of reminds me of an ultra pick, which I will show you in a little bit. You can see I'm getting it there. It's got a little micro crease pit in there, but for the most part, it's coming out super clean. All right, super clean. I don't want to go crazy on anything, but I'm doing the same thing here, getting it to this point, bringing it up. And one thing you have to do, if I was in a colder area, you bet I would be using heat. So if you guys are wondering, hey, were you going to use heat on here? Yes, I would have used heat on here. I didn't have to. I'm in San Diego. Inside the shop is about 80 degrees. I know the metal and the plastic. So this is why I was able to push that without using heat. Okay. Now, let's talk about tapping down too as well. I think we're going to get close to tapping down. Let's see if I'm there or not here. There we go. So the tap down. Now, this is the VIP Micro. There is the dead on Dent Kiwi. So those two pretty much do the same thing. You just have to kind of see what you prefer. I do like the new Kiwi match grade that came out, so that would help really good. But what I'm doing in these tap downs is I'm actually shallowing out the pit and the border of the dent, making it smoother. A lot of guys they get shall I say they get very gun shy when it comes to that part. They think, oh man, I'm making it bigger, so I'm making it worse. And you're not making it worse. You're shallowing out the center pit. And this one's right on the lines. The other part was the fog. So you can tell that I was using both reflections. This is a Carl Stuckey hail light. So if you're interested in this light and you're listening to me, it's called Stuckey Tools. You can go check out Stuckey Tools. Now his light doesn't have the lines in the middle. I put the lines in the middle myself, and I can still use the fog, as you can see. Now I went to the pick. Right, the pick allows you to pinpoint that center, not move the shoulders up, only the center. That was the goal. Right, that was the true goal of that. You can see that it looks like a little crater in that reflection of the fog. Right, and I'm just trying to slowly just get that area there and fit it in. Man, that is a money tool. Picks are going to save you definitely for these cases right here. So if this is something that interests you and you're going, I didn't know that. I didn't know you can do that. Use picks like that. Absolutely. Here's another thing. I call this the twilight zone. You have to and you must over push the center pit. If you don't, you will go in a full circle. All right, you will go in a full friggin' circle. And the lines, as you see the line, it pinched. That's where I was tapping, right? I'm trying to tap it nice and flat. And in some cases, don't be afraid. When you go to tap the high, you will make a low sometimes. Who cares? I say that highs are cancer. You cannot leave a high spot in the panel. I don't care how small it is, because the customer doesn't need to be an expert to see a high spot in their panel. If you have to, if anything, leave it a little low if that's the case. But generally, if it's a little low, that means you can get it out. All right, that's what I'm doing. I'm just setting this up. The center's way more, shall I say, shallow as heck. Now I didn't zoom in. I think I forgot to put my zoom in. I was gonna zoom in, but I'm just opening it up a little bit more. There's still a little bit of a pit in here at the end. Now, did I sand it? No, I did not sand this one. Could I sand? Yes, you can. You can sand just to get that little bit out. But the main thing is, how flat does it get? All right, how flat can it get? Here's another thing too. Let's talk about this. All right. You have to understand the risk and the reward about your repairs. If you get it flat and you have a little bit of texture, is it worth for you to sand? Can the customer actually see that? The good way to gauge it is put that light way back. All right. You get way back and you see, is there any kind of pinching going on? Is there any waves? Is there anything that would give away that dent? But if there's a tiny amount of texture, I wouldn't even worry about it. unless that bugs the hell out of you. Just remember when you are sanding, color sanding, well, or toll cut sanding, because I use the dry sandpaper, you are still taking down clear coat, right? The good thing about the 2000 or 3000, you don't take as much orange peel out. But the main thing that people don't think about, they just use a drill, right? And they buff the car off and they think it's good. Well, now you're risking putting swirl marks. I don't care what kind of, if you have a normal drill, a drill that, it just spins, but it's not rotary, I don't care what you say. You left some swirl marks in that car. So that's another thing too. You got to, unless you have a orbital little polisher, then I probably wouldn't worry about sanding down that little blemish there. So that's my take. I have another video I did there. I'm going to put it on Dent Trainer. I'm going to be even more detailed about what I'm saying, but I thought this would help you, those two tools. So you could see that I used a close range double bend tool, used the side load of it, then tried to use the tip of it, but the tip just wouldn't fit in the area I wanted. So I turned to a pick, and I was actually using the pick to finish out that last little micro lows. How good were those repairs as a percentage? I would say probably about 97%. I'm going to say, okay. Being honest, pretty flat. Had a little pit. If I could sand it, you'd probably take it another 2% off. Really, that's how close you can get those little blemishes, those little marks out.
You have to be 6'1".
I'm tall. I'm a tall 5'11".
That's my requirement.
I'm the tallest 5'11" you've ever met.
Whatever. No, you just probably shrunk, right, Dad?
Probably not. Truthfully. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. This is my wife, Mary Toledo. And
this is what Filipino does all the time. Peace.
Tatalaga, buiset. I just know the bad words.
Yep.
So I brought you on spur of the moment. We were talking about
relationship, or
no, I don't talk about.
That's right. You don't talk about relationship. I'm too deep.
I just want to let you guys know I'm committed to PDR, man. Like, don't talk to me anything. Like, Mary loses me when she starts getting this deep stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm the deep one, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm the Yoda one.
If it's not PDR, I'm like, what? So I brought you on because look, apparently lots of women and wives are getting into becoming the forefront. I wouldn't say they're getting into PDR, but they're actually becoming kind of like the face of PDR for their spouses, and I see it more and more. I just spoke to a friend of ours, John Trice.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to him, and he says his wife has a great career, but
she's an RN.
She might be really getting in the forefront. She already is. She's doing some R&I with him. It's hard to imagine her doing that because she's very feminine looking and she's a nurse and I'm
what? Are you stereotyping now? I know what you mean, dude. I know what you mean, Dad. You're talking about because she's I wouldn't say fancy because she's really down to earth.
No.
Yeah, she's really down to earth. So
no, not that. She's just not your typical, like you would think that she would get dirty, her hands dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
well, you just never know about women, Dad.
And I'm not trying to disrespect any ladies or anything like that. So, meanwhile, what do you think is one of the hardest things to do running a business
with a spouse? Like, what do you
mean?
Okay,
well, let's take the spouse out of it. Let's just say what's part of you're running. Let's say I pass away tomorrow. What do you think is going to be your hardest job, or what's currently?
Well, right now, if let's say you pass away, I think it would be like running the business by myself. You can't really, it's hard for one person to run the business by themselves. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason is because there's so many there's so
Well,
many things involved in
well,
business
we
in order
did.
for it to be
Well, we did set
successful
the business up.
together, though.
No, I'm saying, but if I did pass away, the business wouldn't die.
No, the business wouldn't die because I think I wanted to go on, but I'm gonna have to hire.
I think I might die if you pass away, because then I don't know what the
You
hell to
wouldn't know
do.
where to start.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But I know how to find talent. And I also know how to find people with talent and to put and have them use that talent to
Okay.
what
Well,
they're good
all
at.
right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm talking like what you do as a business. We'll get to that part later. I know kind of hiring the team and having a team like that to build that, but what do you think the biggest responsibility of owning a PDR, an auto reconditioning business? Because we do offer a bunch of services. We have a few different companies. What are you laughing about? What are you smiling at? Like, I'm trying to get serious here. She's sitting there. You know what? I'm not editing any of this. Dude.
No,
Nothing. I don't have time for
no,
this.
you're not supposed to edit it. Okay, so there's certain rules to go on Mike Toledo's podcast, which is like the Den Time podcast, by the way. That would be he doesn't edit it. He just basically just release it the way it
No,
is.
I do some editing, but
Some editing just to add stuff, but you don't want to edit it just because to like take some stuff out.
like
You know
I
what I
know
mean?
I don't have a sharp picture, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. Dude.
And then the second rule is he doesn't tell you what he's gonna talk about. So you're like this, huh? What you talking about? I better be
No,
smart for
listen,
this to
hold on.
answer it.
Listen, I think I
No.
think a sporadic. Not look. I think there's a time for hey, this is what we're going to talk
Mhm.
about. Be organized. But then there's parts where you get the most out of somebody when you don't have a script. You can get spontaneous answers that you probably wouldn't get if you thought about it. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. I know what you're saying. And I understand where you're coming from. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that if you guys are going to be a guest on Den Times podcast, this is what to expect. And to answer your question,
Yeah, let's stick to the pot thing
okay,
because you got 15 minutes. I have to put this
clock
woman
is
on
ticking.
a segment
But you
time
know
limit.
what?
Dude.
Here's the thing, folks. If you guys really hang around with me and Mike, or if you guys are around us, this is us. I was just telling him, this earlier. Just relax and let the world see how fun you can be. You know what I mean? And you're not serious all the time about dance
I'll
and
tell you
business and
what.
stuff.
We went to Texas. I'll tell you what, boy. They have some
Stop
good
it.
biscuits over there. I'll tell you.
How many did you eat, by the way?
Not gonna
Okay.
say. Let me just tell you, I got this extra large Dent Reaper shirt, and it's like people go, "You lose weight." I said, "Nope, just bought bigger shirts." So,
So,
but
anyways, going back to the question, what's the hardest part of running the business? I'll tell you, I think the hardest part of running the business is finding the right people that you can trust to work for you. Really, because I've known people in our industry, and it's not just in our industry, that actually got.
I do. You know,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. I don't know because I don't want to lose my train of thought. I don't know how to use or to be proper, but I'm just sometimes you guys will see me like say the words that are like that's just like coming on my mind. And what I'm trying to say is that I've seen a lot of people get screwed, okay? And
they still get screwed.
yeah, and then they are still getting screwed. And it's not just in our industry, it's also in other business industry. But the point is, I think that was the hardest part because Mike and I go back and forth as far as who do we want to be in our team, who wants to represent Dent Time. We want to make sure that we can trust those people that they're going to do a good job. They're going to like, you know, uh, be our ambassador that's going to promote the brand even, in the highest quality, right?
Right. Okay. I get.
And then
I didn't think that was like I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right. I mean, if well,
what
okay,
were you
Bill. Okay,
thinking? Tell
Bill.
me what were
Well,
you thinking then?
I want to give a bunch of different things. I want to just stay on one topic too
Yeah,
long.
that's fine.
I'm not that like.
I know.
I
So
want
so
to keep
so
going.
so what were you thinking then?
I wasn't thinking that, but that was a good point.
Yes. So what
Because
were you thinking? I am curious to know.
I was talking more of the like what's the back end stuff. You know what I mean? But you're right. I mean, listen, if you're gonna grow, your company, you you can't do it all on your own. All right, right? There's only
Hmm.
so much as a tech you can do, regardless if you're gonna be a hail tech, a route tech, a
Or your
retail tech.
one man band, like a one, you know what I
Unless
mean?
unless you have a proper way and go, look, I'm gonna do it all myself. I'm gonna stay small, keep it all. I've got a 15, 20-year plan. I'm gonna bust my ass for this thing. Fine, that's cool. But
It's
usually
doable.
that is it's doable, but that usually doesn't work.
No, because it's impossible. That's what
No,
I'm saying.
no,
I think it's
no. I know,
impossible.
no, it's not.
You're gonna
I
have
know
to.
some people who have done it.
Really?
Yeah, there's another guy named Jason here in our own thing, and he does bumper repair and dents. But he used to own a McDonald's with his family,
Yeah.
and he got out of it. He said, "I don't want any employees. I don't want to deal with that."
Yeah.
And he has an out plan, and he's almost achieved that. So I'm just saying it is possible. I know it is, but it's very hard to stick to that agenda
Well,
as you grow, you
okay,
know.
yeah, as you grow, because we need to be practical and realistic. Now, the reason why I said it's impossible is because eventually, if you're working all the time, it's going to get in a way of your life, your personal life, like your family, or maybe if you're single, like what I did a podcast with Jack. We talked about how hard it is to juggle between business and your life and then dating. Remember, he's younger than us, so
Dating.
he needs to date. Okay, let's move on to the
Yeah.
second one.
Okay.
Let's move on to the
No,
second one.
okay. So what else is like
I
okay,
have another
this
one.
is
I have
why this
another
is where I'm
one.
going with this, folks. Okay. Because there are some ladies that would love to help their husbands,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Or spouses, or vice versa. Okay, the husband would like to help the wife who's doing PDR. I'm, it could be either situation. I'm not trying to say one's more dominant than the other, but there are more generally. I would say it's a male dominant industry.
Industry.
Okay, so in general, this question is
It's
going to go
changing
for
now,
the
though.
for it is no, it is big time. Okay, I've trained more ladies than this past couple years than I have ever. But
Do you know why, Dad?
let me stick to the thing.
But do you know why, though? We'll go back to this, and I'll tell you why. I have insights.
Go ahead, tell me now. Then why? Go ahead.
Okay, I think the reason why there's more ladies that are interested in doing PDR or getting involved in the PDR business. I mean, you know what? It's good for those women or wives, maybe significant others who wants to help their partners to make the business grow and to be a success. It's good for them because I think the reason why they're also now getting involved, it's because a lot of women now are getting into the workforce. They're not just staying at home, or they're not just, I think, waiting, for the husband to just, you know what I mean, bring in the bacon, and they're putting
Yeah, but
themselves out there now.
why do you think they want to do PDR? That's the thing, because PDR isn't easy. I mean, we first of all, it's not easy regardless if you're a man or a
Uh-huh.
woman. But that's what your point is. I mean, it's
Well,
honestly,
if we're
I think more
specifically
women are built like your personality now, or becoming that ways that they can't be told like,
told what to do.
no, it's not just what to do. It's like in this day and age, like
They're
I
putting
think that
themselves out
I
there,
think the
Dad.
thinking is very more
Forward,
forward thinking
forward,
and
yes.
going, I'm not gonna, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't do it. Just because I'm not as strong as you, I can't do it. I mean, take it for instance, Mo, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Mel and you got Ermelinda,
Uh huh.
right?
Uh huh.
Those women get their, I'm mean, excuse my language, they get their asses kicked every day. I see it. I see them online, and they keep getting back up, dusting themselves off and going for it and doing it again. And they're getting better and better and better. You know what I
Well,
mean? And I
that's
think that's tremendous. And I think other women are starting to see that. And then they're thinking, and then you got Crystal, right? And you got a couple other ladies that are in the industry
there's
beyond
a
that.
lot more, Mike, ladies out there. I found out there's a lot more ladies out there that are actually doing dance, but they're not. What do you call this? They're not active in social media, so we don't know of them.
True.
But they are a lot out there because
So
when
maybe
the
they don't want to be like in that
probably
limelight of
when
that.
the
Yeah.
names are dropped, I'm like, wow, I didn't know she's a PDR girl, or she works for this so and so
Okay.
company.
Ding
So
ding. I know we're moving our segments on. You guys are gonna love this podcast because it's very diverse,
is
right?
it 20 minutes?
Mary, almost like okay.
Okay. So what
Mary,
else? Okay. So what else did you notice? Because you said you want to
well,
talk
I
more about.
wanted to, like I wanted to say like, look, there's there's Chris Hughes, right, and Francis, right,
Francis.
and you were giving some advice to Francis,
Mm-hmm.
right, and so what
But
do these ladies need to know about running a PDR business? I mean, what do you
what do
think
they
is
know?
if someone says, "Can you give me top three things right now?" And this is it, and we're going to be done. Give me top three things, and don't elaborate for 20 minutes on each one. I just need to know your top three things briefly.
Folks, has it been 20
I
minutes?
have to time management my wife, so you just don't know,
Whatever.
dude. It takes it
No,
literally
no,
when
no.
we
Hey,
watch.
you're
No,
talking
listen,
right now. You're
no.
talking right
When we
now. Let's
watch,
move
no,
forward.
listen. When we watch 60 Minutes, the movie, that show.
He's trying to be funny.
No, seriously,
Okay.
it takes us an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes,
Because
dude.
I pause. I gotta do errand. I mean, I gotta do stuff in the kitchen. I come back and then I
Okay,
pause.
but anyway, top three things that spouses, the women should know if they're going to
To
help
work with their
their
spouses.
spouses. Yes.
Okay, for one, and I'm a firm believer on this. Make sure you have a good and effective communication. And that goes, if I'm going to elaborate, I'm going to go with open communication. You need to be able, because you
I'm
guys
gonna
are,
write that down.
hold on, you guys are business partners, right? You're working together. So therefore, you're now business partners. So you need to make sure that you guys are always communicating, regardless whether you're having disagreements, you're yelling at each other. Because if you're not communicating, then that means the business is not moving forward. So number one is make sure that you have an effective communication. Second, you really cannot take things personal when you are having disagreement, correct? Because there are times, tell me the truth, a lot of people, and
You're
I've
gonna try to
heard this.
throw me on the bus.
No,
I
I'm
see.
not.
I see
No,
it
no, 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 no,
coming.
no, no. I'm just saying this. Have confidence in you, damn it. What I'm saying is that I've heard it from a lot of people that the reason why they don't want to work with their spouses or their significant others, it's because it's hard. They said it's hard. You fight all the time. You don't agree on a lot of things, and therefore it create like a stress in your relationship. So why would you want to do that when you're in constant fight, right?
I wouldn't know anything about that. It's nothing,
It's gotten
nothing but
better.
roses and freaking cherries.
Well, no,
Between
it's gotten
bro.
better between us because I always try to implement like that. Second, when you're
Third,
running a
third,
business,
third.
I mean, yeah, that's right. Third, good for checking me. Third, you really have to be on the same page as far as achieving the goal, where you want the business to go, and how to implement,
A game plan.
yes, or a project, right? Or where you want to take your business. So that way, you guys are always in sync as far as, making the business grow and making sure that it's sustainable,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's great idea. That's you know, you surprise me sometimes,
No,
Phyllis.
Dad, I
Yeah,
know my
I you
crap.
I
I know my crap, my shit.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
I know my shit. Okay. No, that's what it is. And
Do I have
what?
to edit that? There's no cursing allowed on my podcast.
Well, this everybody say shit. Listen, listen. So what else was okay? What else did I tell you? The most recent one, that how we should be able to, or how or what strategy we should use when it comes to communicating.
What do you mean? What
You don't,
strategy?
well, you remember, I mean, I reminded you more than once, probably two or three times. I said, I'm just going to say it. Dad, when we're trying to communicate with each other, don't look at me as a wife. Folks, try this at home,
Well,
okay?
don't call me dad on a podcast. Then, dude.
I'm sorry, but I got used to that. It's been 20 years or 21 years. So I can't suddenly like program myself to do,
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that the reason why I told my husband this is because when you guys are still treating each other like a husband and wife, or like, your significant other, then sometimes you forget that, wait a minute, we need to be professional. You need to treat me like your business partner or your employee. So there has to be certain boundary, right? You need to create boundary so you guys don't end up fighting.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right. Boundaries, and I think I'm going to add to that. And you've been. It's not easy, okay? Because I am a workaholic, you guys. I I can't. Well, anyways, I'm gonna
Just
go.
say it, Dad.
I work really hard, and in the back end, and Mary has to practically peel me off. And I think there's times where you have to go walk away. You know what I mean? And go, listen. You need the family time. You need the kid time. You need you just have to dedicate that time so you can reset your batteries for both spouses and keep that open. But I think you nailed some really good points there. I think that's really helpful for anybody out there who wants to run a husband and wife team.
Yeah,
And
it's possible, and more people are doing it. It's just you have to have a strategy and create boundary, and to have respect, you really need to have communication, Dad. That's what it is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think of yeah? Well, thank you, Mrs. Toledo, for coming on. We really appreciate you doing that, taking your time.
Sure. My fees are expensive. It's very high.
I'll work on that. I have a little.
Nothing is free, dude.
I'll give you a little something, something. So
Not that one. Okay.
now that I might edit that one out. So okay, all right, Miss. I love you. We'll get out of here. All right, love you. Okay,
Okay.
you guys. Check out Mary's podcast. It's called Mary Unapologetic. If you guys want to check that out, and she is pretty insightful, just like what you saw right here. So go get a listen on podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts, right? Are you uploading to YouTube at all? Or no?
Okay, Podbean,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. I also have a Facebook, Mary Unapologetic. I actually have 51 followers.
Correct.
And 2,000 likes. And by the way,
as the
they're
Spanish
not
people would say, "Shingon."
Spanish people. And by the way, they're not all PDR, because
Latinos,
I'm not
right.
just hitting PDR here. I'm
All right.
hitting the world.
I'm gonna get off here before I get in trouble. So, all right, you guys. Talk to you guys later. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Mike Toledo. Thanks a lot. Joe Garcia will be back on the next one. I kind of gave him a break. I ended up doing this podcast at the last minute, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. And let me know what you guys think. There's the new Mega Media event's going to be coming in Anson later on, and then we're going to have the guys from Dream. Their event is coming up. I will be there as well, doing a 15-minute presentation. And if you are considering going to the MTE later in the year, early in the year of next year, late January, I invite you to come out. It is going to be a big mobile tech expo out there. So hope you guys can see you there. I think it's the last weekend of January. Go to mobiletechexpo.com. You get all the information there. Okay. And if you want to check out the Dream, go to dentrepair.com. You get the information there as well. Meanwhile, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot for watching, and subscribe if you're here, and follow on the Apple Podcasts. Later on, guys.